Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is the second part of the Palindrome challenge, in which we are going to be resolving the same problem that we resolved on the first video. But on this one, we have a space complexity that we need to take into consideration whenever we come up with a solution to the problem. So hopefully the two videos are going to give you the ground that you need to come up with a proper solution during your real interview day. Okay, enough talking. Let's go ahead and roll the intro. Alright, so back at the editor, the problem states that we need to create a program that receives a stream of characters and determine whether or not the stream is a palindrome. It also states here that we can make use of any language. So for this video, we are going to go with Python. So the constraint that we have here states that our solution needs to make a constant use of memory. So if you're new to time or space complexity, I recommend you to search for Big O notation on Google, and that's going to help you understand at least the basis of what time complexity or space complexity is. Okay, so I'll go ahead and start coding the solution here. So once I'm done with it, I'll come back and explain it in detail for you. Okay, so due to the fact that we have a space complexity on our problem here, we need to come up with a way for us to be able to compare the characters starting from the beginning of the stream with the characters starting from the end of the same stream. That without creating a reversed version of the original stream or modifying the original stream. So the solution that I just created here is one of many possible solutions that can help you resolve this same exact problem. Okay, so let me explain the solution that I came up with here. Starting from the top, I just went ahead and created a basic function which is going to take an argument, and this argument it's going to be expected to be a string, which is the one that's going to contain the sequence of characters that we need to validate to see whether or not it is a palindrome. Now within the function, I am defining the n variable, which at the moment has the value of 1. And this is going to be the variable that we are going to use as a pointer in order for us to perform a reverse indexing or reverse iteration, if you will. Now we are going to also need to have another pointer that's going to be used to perform the forward indexing or the forward iteration, and that is going to be the default pointer that we are going to get by using the for loop that you see here on the screen within the function. So this is a basic for loop in which I am iterating through a range of values that I am getting by using the range function, to which I'm passing the length of the string that was passed to our function here. So that is going to give you a range amount of numbers that we are going to be using to perform the indexing on the forward iteration. Now within the for loop, I need to find a way to perform a reverse indexing and at the same time to be able to skip any character that is not part of the alphabet and it is not a number. And I am doing that with a while loop here, in which I am validating the value that comes up of the reverse indexing that I am performing using the n variable, along with some default string methods, which are the isAlpha and the isDigit, and those methods are going to return a Boolean value. So if the character that I am currently on the reverse order is not part of the alphabet or is not a digit, that method is going to return a false value, and that is eventually going to be compared against the is not true operation that I have on the same line. So once within the while loop, meaning that the character that I'm on the reverse order is not part of the alphabet or a number, I am going to increment the current value of the n pointer or the n variable that I'm using for the reverse indexing. And that while loop is going to keep on going for as many non-alphabet characters or non-digit characters that I encounter on the reverse order. So once I hit an alphabet character or a number, I am going to actually exit out of the while loop and continue down with the next conditional statement, which in this case is a basic if statement in which I am performing a similar operation to the one that I perform on the while loop, but here I am skipping non-alphabet characters or non-number characters on the forward indexing using the I pointer. So once I encounter such characters, I'm gonna go within that if statement and use the continue keyword, which is going to help me go back to the top of the for loop and continue with the next iteration. And that's gonna keep on going as well for as many non-alphabet or non-number characters that I encounter on the forward iteration. If I do encounter an alphabet character or a number, I'm gonna exit out of that if statement and then I'm gonna move down to the next if statement, which is basically the one that is going to be comparing the value of the item on index position I with the value of the item on index position -n. And please know that I am using a default string method here in order for me to make sure that I am doing comparison of characters of the same letter case. And I'm doing that with the .lower method, which is going to change the case of the letter on that index to a lowercase. Now you might be wondering how this will work with numbers, and that's very simple. As long as the number is within a string, it's not going to change anything on a number. So just keep in mind that if you do pass a number on an actual integer or floating data type, it is indeed going to throw you an exception due to the incorrect data type. So if that condition turned out being true, then I am going to perform the operation within that if statement, which in this case is first to increment the current value of the n pointer, then to continue with the next value on the forward iteration by using the continue keyword. Now, if the values are not equal, then we are going to hit the else condition, in which we are going to return false. And that means that the string that was passed to the function was not a palindrome. Now, just keep in mind that if we don't hit any characters that are not equal, we are going to continue with the iteration through the for loop until we hit the end of the string on the forward iteration and on the reverse iteration. Now, once there are no more items to iterate over, we are going to exit out of the for loop and then hit the default return value, which in this case is true. And that's what's going to let us know that the string was indeed a palindrome. Okay, so now that we understand the logic of this solution here, let's go ahead and define a few test cases just like we did on the first video, and then execute the program and see if it works as expected. Okay, so you may have noticed that I used the same test cases that I used on the first video, since the core of the problem is still the same. So let's go back to the console and test the code. Okay, so here we got the result. We got 4 truths and a single false, and that is actually matching what we expected from the test cases. So if you notice, the first 4 test cases were supposed to return a true value, and the last one was the only one to return a false. Now let's go ahead and double check that this program is indeed working by modifying one of the first test cases. Okay, so I went ahead and modified the first test case by adding the number 1 to the end of the string. So let's see what happens now. Okay, so as you notice here, the first test case along with the last test case are actually returning false. And that's exactly what we expected, since I modified the first test case, which in this case is no longer a palindrome string. Okay, so we were able to confirm that this code is indeed working properly. And again, this one is taking into consideration the constraint that was added to the code, which in this case was again the space complexity. So our logic did not make any modifications to the string that was passed to the program, and we didn't create any new strings either. Alright, so this kind of wraps it up for now. I hope you found this video helpful, and again, if you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more. I'll see you in the next one.